Hi, do you like playing card games like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, come join with me and my friend here, Carrie, about this card game that we love to play called Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering is a premier trading card game and it is widely known throughout the world. Like other card games such as Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and many more, players have to create decks and play against each other.
Another difference from other card games is how you utilize your cards and use strategy. You will get cards from booster packs and you would never know what you'll get from them.
Cards specific in the deck in Magic will need spells and creatures that players can summon.
With those cards, you would build your deck in a way that can defeat your opponents.
Well, I guess the reason why I like playing Magic is because it's more fun. And I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, which is another card game, and I find that playing Magic was more fun because it has more strategies. The cards itself was kind of nice, and there's just more strategy into this game. I guess another thing about Magic is that you never know what's gonna happen next in Magic and stuff. So that's the fun part of it. So I guess to tell you how I started this game is I started last year in the summer, and a friend of mine called Choi, he introduced to me this game with other people like Brandon and Jonathan. I mean, they started the game before I did. When I started this game out, it was kind of hard for me at first because of the text of what the word says in the card and what strategy I can do. But then as months keep going by, where I make my own deck, where I put in cards into the deck and play with Choi or play with Brandon and Jonathan, play with other people, and at least three or 4 months, I got better. I got good in this game real quick because all that practicing and help with friends and stuff. I just learned how to play this game pretty good now.
Well, I remember playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I looked at different card games as well, and I went to an event called Anime Boston, and there they had different card games, and the only game I knew was Yu-Gi-Oh, and I looked around and I saw this game called Magic the Gathering, and I never started playing it until a year after that, around there, and yeah, and Choi and David helped me teach me, and actually got help from the online game that they had. My first experience playing the game was kind of challenging because the first event that I went to was a draft, and I didn't know any how to play the game exactly because the only thing I got experience from is the online game on your computer, and most of the time it didn't really give you ideal direction of how you should play. So, and then plus the starting decks that they had was linear, it was just all white, so and it didn't really help me learn about the game more. And the funny part is I actually messed up during my first draft by making a rainbow deck. And a rainbow deck is where you have all the colors in one deck, and and I kind of messed up there.
So can you guys please introduce yourself and say how long you guys have been playing Magic the Gathering?
I'm Choi. I've been playing Magic since 7th grade, so probably a good almost 14 years now.
My name's Wei. I've been playing Magic since '99, on and off, so about the same, about 14 years.
So first thing is, how did you guys get involved with this card game?
Well, for me, it started with Yu-Gi-Oh, which is similar. Me and my friends in middle school would play Yu-Gi-Oh in lunch period, and we kind of just shifted over to Magic. We got a little bored of Yu-Gi-Oh, and we heard about Magic, which was a lot more older, but also still popular. So we shifted to that, and once we started playing that, we fell in with it. Yeah, exactly.
Originally, I started playing a lot of board games. Like, I got really involved with chess. I'm a really strategic player. So once I learned how to play Magic, I just fell in love with it.
Exactly.
It's a very good strategic game, different mechanics, and a good way to learn. Yeah.
So in here in Castle Square, you guys run a event called Magic Gathering Booster Drafting. What is Booster Draft, and how is Magic fun in general?
You want to answer that?
A booster draft is another way of playing the game. So what you do is you start off with 3 packs, and you open a pack and you choose 1 card, and you pass it to either your left or right depending on which pack it is. And eventually, at the end of it, you'll construct a deck. You'll have 45 cards, and then you start building a deck, and then you play other players.
And what makes it fun is that each time you play, you never know what cards are going to be in the pack that you get. So there's always going to be a different way of playing every time you play. And it also adds more to the strategy portion of it, because you have to think which kind of deck or cards you want to commit to trying to use. And once you do that, you have to decide, how am I going to make the cards that you're building your deck around work better together, depending on the cards that you're given, because you may not always get the cards that you want out of those packs. So it's always ever evolving in a draft.
It's like a very big puzzle.
So how did you bring the Castle Square community and get involved with this Magic Gathering Booster Draft?
I mean, it was kind of funny how it worked. Here at Castle Square, there were a few people that would play Magic, and I would introduce them to the game, and we just kind of get together and play once in a while. But then Wei, who was actually part of the board here, I found out that Wei's likes Magic too. For some reason, it took us way too long to find this out. But since he's part of the board, we started talking about, hey, how can we maybe expand this to the entire neighborhood as opposed to just a few of us?
Yeah.
And with his clout in the board, he was able to propose organizing this booster draft tournament, weekly booster draft tournament, to see if we can gauge interest and have a more regularly scheduled time frame to play Magic. And as they all fell into place and really worked out really well.
Yes.
So since not many people in the community knows about what Magic, what this card game is, why should they learn and play this card game?
From a personal aspect, I feel like it's a really great game to learn. There's a lot of good qualities about it. You can learn new words, critical thinking. There's basic math involved. A lot of things you gotta put together to play the game. This is not one thing you need to know.
Yeah, it really works your brain, because you look at it as cards, but there's a vast amount of strategy involved. There's a lot of on-the-spot situational thinking. You have to adapt to different situations. Like I mentioned with drafting, there's actually the added on-the-spot thinking of drafting cards added on top of the core game of Magic. So it really gets your brain going, thinking on your toes, and it's a great get together for just people just hang out, as opposed to having to be hanging out on the street or sitting in front of a computer all the time. Which is one of the big things we want to do this. We get people away from the computers and with people.
Actually talking to people.
Yes, exactly.
Throughout the experience of Magic, people play for fun with interesting themes or fun combos with friends. But some people play Magic in a competitive level with high skills, with thousands of money on the prize in tournaments all over the world. Some people just follow the collect and trading aspects in the game.